Hi everybody, it's Cathryn from In the Pink Designs, and my project today is with the Jar of Joy, which is available now. This was an online exclusive. Alrighty, it goes with the Sweet Jar Builder Punch that we had a couple months ago, so this is just a holiday version of it. Okay, so my box measures. Now, the height can vary depending on how high or low you put the jar. It's 2 by 5.5 by 1/2. I have a Velcro dot holding it closed, and there are 3 of the Hershey miniature candy bars in there. Now, if you don't want to do the Velcro dot, like this is a very good idea for a craft fair. You could just staple the pieces together and then glue the jar on top. You don't have to use the Velcro dot, but I like it because then they can take one out and close it and use it as a decoration. All right, so I'm using some new paper that's available next month, Christmas tags and more, and there are 8 pieces of each pattern. So that's the front, and that's the piece we're using now. And then there's these, and the back is the mistletoe, I think. And then you have these nice ornaments and like a very light green diamonds on the back. And then we have this plaid with that on the back. And then there is 4 sheets, 2 of each of the cutouts. So it's a nice 6 by 6 pack. Okay, we need some basic white for stamping. I cut out 3 of the jars. 1 is going to go on the back of our front, and then I put 2. Now, you don't have to do this at all. You can just put 1 on the back and 1 on the front, but I thought it made it a little more finished and sturdy. So I cut out 3 of those out of Real Red. We need some more Real Red to stamp the top of the jar. We need a window sheet that is 1 3/4 by 3.5. And we need a piece of that DSP that is 5.5 by 5. All right, I'm going to get my Simply Scored. We're going to start on the 5.5-inch side. Score at 1/2, 2.5, 3, and 5. Turn it to the 5-inch side and score it at 1/2. All right, now fold and burnish your score lines. And I know this is going to be kind of hard to see on this paper. Okay, we have 3 1/2-inch rectangles, 1 here and here, and 2 panels that way. And then just 1 1/2-inch rectangle on the bottom. Alrighty, what we're going to do is this. So only the bottom is what we're going to be cutting, and then just a wedge off the top part there. Alright, which we don't even have to do because I cut down the sides a little bit, but we'll do it out of habit. Alright, we're going to start over here, go to the first score line, cut it to the first score line, and wedge both sides of that square. Go to the next 2 score lines and cut them to the first score line, and then wedge both sides of that square. I don't know if you could see. Let me put a piece of black. I forgot we are also using the textured notes dies for the opening. All right, let's see if we can see it. You can't really even see it. These 2 are tabs. All right, and then the last score line, we're going to cut to the first score line and wedge up and follow to the top and wedge a little piece off of that. All right, that's what your cardstock should look like when you're done. Okay, now our window is going to go in the left panel. So let me just make it like this so that we can see. All right, and this is going to be down. All right, now this rectangle from the Textured Notes dies is approximately 2 3/4 by 1 1/2. And I'm going to put it about 3/8 up from the bottom, of not including this piece. That's going to be the bottom of the box. So I'm going to put it about right there. I'm trying to get it even on the sides. Let me just check. Yeah, it's about 3/8 up. All right, now I'm going to open everything up so I don't get it, and I'm going to run it through my machine. Okay. Now what we're going to do is flip it over, and we're going to put our window sheet on. So it goes a bunch up on the top, but if you put a little bit of glue, you could use tear and tape, but I'm going to try to put a thin piece of glue about 1/8 away from the edge of the opening. All right. And I'm going to put it down and press that. Yeah, we're good. A little bit came out. Okay. So wait a minute for that to set. All right, then flip it back over and get your tear and tape, and we're going to put it close to the score line on that 1/2 inch rectangle that you wedged. Okay, and take the backing off. All right, now flip it over and flip over the side with the tape. It's a little close this time, but we'll get it. And then flip over the other side to meet it. Okay, and that's our basic box. And then we're going to close the bottom. Okay, now it doesn't quite fit 4. But you know what? I don't think we have to do it this time. I put a little bit of the shred on the bottom to lift it up, but our bow is going to cover that, so that's fine. So I'm going to get 3 of my miniatures. I know these are Thanksgiving or fall, but they don't have anything Christmas out right now for us. It goes with candy. They don't even have, by me, they don't even have Halloween stuff out. This was like on the aisle. It wasn't even in the section. There's still school stuff because our kids don't go until either Friday or Thursday or next week sometime. All right, so let's put the 3 in. And at Christmas, these will have nice Christmas I don't know what they put on there. I forgot. All right, I'm going to squeeze the top closed. All right, and we'll leave that and we'll do our stamping now. All right, so we need basic white. I'm using Real Red, Pecan Pie, Garden Green, and Tuxedo Black for the lid. So I do the Real Red first. It makes it the easiest for me to line up. And sometimes it takes me a couple because it's kind of hard to see this one. All right, and then Pecan Pie. Try to line up his legs and the bow tie if I can see it. Okay, good. And then with Garden Green, I'm going to do the jar. I'm sorry, this is pretty far away today. Sorry about that. Okay, good. And with Tuxedo Black, we're going to do the lid on the Real Red paper. You could probably do Garden Green for this too. Let me try. Well, you can't really notice, and this way it just stands out a bit. It's a dark paper. All right, I'm going to cut out the top. And we need one more top. Nope. Yes, we need one more top for the backing. Okay. And then we're going to cut out our jar. Okay. I don't know where my mat is right now, so I'm going to put that under. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue right on that edge of the top of the jar. And then place this right down. That's my mistake. Now, let's get our box. And I put it right about down to there. Now, if these sides don't bother you, by all means, leave them. Let me just check where I'm going to put it. I'm going to put it right about there. Maybe a little lower, right about there. So I'm leaving the same, about 3/8 inch above the window there. And then I'm just going to trim a little off each side so it doesn't stick out. But if you like it like that, just leave that. And then on the inside, I'm going to have to clip off some. But this is totally unnecessary if you don't want to do it. If you don't mind the stuff sticking out. Okay. All right. And then I'm going to glue my jar on. So I think this much down. That was one of my mistakes. Make sure it's straight. And we're gluing this to just the front. Okay, and then flip it over and we'll glue over the back, especially since I made that mistake when I flipped it over. It's going to go inside in here a little bit. Okay, now we need the other two. No, you know what? We don't need this other piece, so let's just forget about that. And we're going to put one on the back in the same spot. So right about here, I'm going to put glue. And then just pick it up and make sure it's right at the same level as your front one. Okay, I got a little glue in there that came over, so you want to wipe that off quickly so it doesn't seal it. Okay. And then if you don't mind the DSP showing there, you can use that, but I'm going to put another one in there. Especially if you're going to be selling them, they're probably not going to be looking in them. So you don't really have to do that. They'll just give them as gifts, and the candy will be eaten. Some people save them. Okay, now you have two options here for the closure while it's setting up a little more. I am going to show you, you can either, this is the Real Red Shiny Ribbon. Very nice ribbon, easy to tie a bow with, except the only downside for me is that it's only one-sided, and I don't like having shiny ribbon and then dull. But if you really want to close the box, you're going to be closing it over your decoration. So I chose to use a Velcro dot. These are 3/8 inch. Usually buy around the sewing area of your store or on Amazon. You know what? I did use that. I keep saying that I don't use it. I'm sorry. All right, I'm going to put this over it just to make this piece a little stiffer. That's why I used it. So I'm just going to put a little glue and up on that knob on the top. And then I'm going to cover it. And that will strengthen the knob so that it really doesn't get bent up easily. All right. Also, if you're going to do a craft fair, you could just staple before you put these on. Just staple it and then glue these over the staple. Glue them together. All right. Did I put them on? No. Okay. I have one on there. All right. I'm going to put one right here. About right in there. And then we'll flip the other one over. And I'm going to just line them up and squeeze it closed. And then open it. And make sure they're tight. Okay, I like it. Okay, there we go. So now I'm just going to tie a bow with this shiny ribbon. It's such a shame. I really wish it was double-sided, but it doesn't look too bad. All right, you could do the twisteroo all over if you wanted to get the tops nice. I'm going to get some glue dots and some liquid glue and put it on the back. I'm going to put it right in this gap right here between the jar and the window. All right. And for the final touch, I'm going to use some of the red and white peppermints. I'll put a large here, a medium over there, and a small up a little higher, right on the window. Whoops. Right on the window. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed them. Please subscribe and hit the like button. And all my info is below. Have a great day. I'll see you next time. Bye.